Hello, everyone! Woo! Hello, and welcome to another episode of Songs and 3. It has been far too long. And honestly, this camera is a little bit. Hold on. The scry. I'm sorry. No, that's not bad. That's not bad. I know. Jerry rigging it. Things like that happen. Oh my god, the things that have happened since I've been on here have been absolutely insane. Oh my god, where do I even begin? When the hell was my last episode? Oh my god, really? Grimmy, I heard you say that. What are you? Grimmy? Hold on. Grimmy, I told you, whenever it's time to roll, you have to be here. You can't just go along on your own and not expect to do anything about it. Oh my god, Grimmy, honestly. Here he is! Oh my god, Grimmy, you are marvelous. You are stupendous, fantastic, so succulent and dry at the same time as yours truly, unfortunately. Slim pickings this holiday season, but there's good reason for that. And honestly, I want to apologize as well. There has been so many things happening, and I would have loved to have gotten back to you weeks ago for Yule season. However, I was fucking sick throughout half the fucking month and then through New Year. I don't know how the bloody hell that happened, but I'll tell you what, I'm looking out for you. Whoever the fuck you are. Melinda. Who knows? I don't know, but I was so distraught by it. I could not believe how much and how far this fucking went. And I'll tell you what happened. All right. So around the month of December, where I was going to start rolling out some special videos, some ideas, reading a book or two for this season because I had several things prepared, I came down with a bad flu or a sickness, an illness of some kind. All right. And it hit me for about 2 weeks, unfortunately. I had no strength. It was bad. All right. That was 2 weeks. Okay. In December, this happened on Thanksgiving Day. I got sick. And then about 2 weeks after that, I was recovering from this shit still after Thanksgiving Day. All right? So if you count that down, all the way to Christmas, I started to feel a little bit okay, right? So I was like, all right. But during that season, everyone knows for the Yuletide season, you have to go around shopping, looking for things and that of that nature, doing all the shebang, and my hat is feeling weird. Hold on. I don't know. Honestly, look, and I think over time I feel as though nothing really fits anymore because I spend so much time out of it. But I was doing what I normally do, going to work, and that's another story for another time. There's a huge recap. And I recently, after I came out of it, it was about a week or so, and then I started to feel a bit strange in my sort of sternum, solar plexus area. And it was a really bad pain. And it would hurt whenever I would breathe. It wasn't Rona. It would hurt whenever I would eat, whenever I would move around or sit. And it was like a cramping sensation, like knives digging into my fucking sides, and then the pain spreading from the midsection here and then outwards towards the back area. I had the shivers, and it was very sensitive and bruising. All right? That happened to me around slightly before Christmas happened. All right? So as soon as I got off of this sickness, I got hit with that fucker. All right? I got hit with that. And that same weekend, I had promised a friend of mine that I would go to another country to visit him. And I did. All right? Over the weekend. Something quick, something fancy, something nice. And we had a marvelous time there. However, I was in pain the entire time. We went out to the markets, to whatever the hell they had to help treat whatever pain I had. I thought I had esophagitis. But apparently it wasn't that, although the symptoms were very similar. Then afterwards I was like, maybe I have pancreatitis because I was told I had it in the past. So I took medicine for that as well, and guess what? Nothing was fucking working. So after that little soiree I had up north a bit more, I decided to come back right after Christmas. And it was New Year's. So of course I had to go to work, but I was still very much in pain. All right, so I went to the doctors. Of course I did. Waste of time that was. And I went there, and they were like, well, love, what you had before, though similar, was not pancreatitis, because if it was, it would have been a lot more severe, the pain and the things you'd be going through. They asked me, if you're not shitting out blood, if you're not puking it out, if you're not coming out of your fucking eyelids, I'm exaggerating a little bit, it's probably not that. And then they proceeded, although my doctor was rather young and very attractive, I had to control myself, honestly. I was hoping for a physical, but it wasn't going to happen. I was there, took no tests. I took a weight, lost a ton of weight. I was so happy about it. I was like, ah! I am thinner. I went there, got myself weighed, you know. I told the person it was mostly dick. I got no answers. So I go in there, a young, cute doctor comes in, I'm like, hello, doctor. He's like, hi, how are you? I'm here. I'm judging by what you have, I would like to sort of investigate, see what sort of works out for you. I gave him the spiel of what I had, what I thought I had, what I was experiencing throughout this time, because it wasn't getting any better. And the thing is, I was taking things like Gas X, and I was taking like Alka-Seltzer, like chewable ones, disgusting. They turn to foam in your mouth and you have to swallow it. So I was doing that for like the duration I had this shit. Anything I ate, immense pain. If I drank anything, pain. And then I would avoid eating altogether, which would cause weight loss. But I was in so much pain, and then I would feel so much hunger, but was scared to eat. So I finally went to the doctors, begrudgingly. It was at the behest of my mother. She was like, you need to go to doctors, you need to get checked out. It could be something bad, you don't know. So before I went there, believing it was what I had prior, about 20, not 20 years ago, but almost 10, the pancreatitis thing, I went an entire day without eating anything solid. I drank broth, drinks, and did the pain subside? Not that much, to be honest. I was still in pain, so I had to take Aleve pills in order to deal with the pain. And I would feel them working in my fucking stomach. As I slept, you could feel the heat and the burning sensation. I know immense warfare was happening within my spirit. And so, after I go to the doctors, after he checks me out, he didn't put his hands on me, unfortunately. He steps out. And then, who comes back? The doctor and one other person. I thought I was in a casting couch. I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Are you going to undress me and do things too? No. What they did was they had me lean back. They asked me the questions again. They had me lift up my shirt. That was about as risque as it got, unfortunately. And the second person, I guess a supervisor, superintendent, over the doctor, whatever the fuck, wanted to give his 2 cents in and started to perform on me. So they took their fucking beady, mundane fingers and desecrated my body. And by taking their fingers and pressing it into my fucking sternum as hard as they fucking could, I legitimately almost swung on that bitch. I would have knocked him out too. It was very painful. I was this close to letting loose, and then he stopped. I was holding my breath the entire time because I was getting winded. Okay, I was like, I will not let you best me, you fuck. Why are you doing this? Why is this necessary? And then they said, if you had pancreatitis, love, this would cause a ton of reactions or whatever. It didn't. I was like, lucky for you, it didn't. I spent 24 hours without eating anything, and I took nothing as far as foods today. We have no idea how bad it could have gone if I ate anything else. So, this is what they did. They gave me a prescription. I have it over there. Hold on. Oh, am I writing HIPAA laws? You better fucking believe it, because I was very upset, bitch. I was distraught. I could not believe it. I didn't want to go to begin with, and I had to expect a fucking medical bill in my fucking mail. So, what they ended up giving me was 20 milligrams of famotidine, okay? Or famotidine, whatever the fuck you call it, okay? 1 tablet by mouth at bedtime, okay? After I went there and I got this, okay, I found out that my insurance wasn't even active. And then I would have had a high copay for the prescription. So the nurse, lovely woman she was like, well, tell you what, love. We have a alternative source of, insurance, whatever I want to use. It'll make this drastically cheaper. I recommend it. And I was like, love, do it. Without a question. And she did, and I had to pay $10 for this. Poison. I've been sticking up my ass the last 2 weeks. They didn't tell me. Oh, it does say by mouth. Well, down there's a mouth in its own way. No, I was taking it for about a week, almost 2 weeks. It wasn't doing much. Okay. Finally, after about a week and a half, almost two of this bullshit, again, an entire fucking month, going through illness and pain, one after the other, the pain as of now has practically subsided. And I seldom get any sorts of pain. So I am about at 100%. So that entire time, I was spending in recovery. I was trying to just relax, watching shows, whatever, doing what you do when you're sick, getting ideas, looking at the news. Fucking nightmare right now. Didn't make it any better. And then here I am, finally, weeks after, it was about a week or two after I got better, because I was like, well, I need to get some things together. I had to go to not a christening, but a birthday party of, the first birthday of a family member of mine. Very cute, very adorable. I will not show pictures because you're not worthy of her beauty. And I had to go there for that, be around people I do not really have anything in common with or really like that much anymore, really, for a plethora of reasons. I went there for support because I felt as though, well, this little bud requires some sanity within her spirit. So I decided to go there instead to provide, much needed differentiation. Okay. So I went there for that. All right. So that's what happened to me for about a month or so. I was like, I wanted to read a book. I had the entire collection of Narnia. I don't know if I showed it in my last video, but I do have it here. I will post the pictures here. Okay. I was going to read that for the month of, December. Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the works. I had all of it. It's a marvelous tome. I have it right here. I could show you, but I don't feel like doing it. So, around the same time, I acquired some new reading pieces. I acquired The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, gilded with golden pages. A marvelous book, a marvelous read. You perhaps can appreciate it as much, but that's what I got, all right? Not only that, I also acquired another book I was thinking about reading as well. Jules Verne, all right? You have 5 weeks in a balloon, a journey to the center of the earth, 20,000 leagues under the sea, around the world in 80 days. 3 of which I have heard many times over. First of which I have not. 5 weeks in a balloon? I don't know. It sounds like a nightmare. Especially if you're fucking Elon Musk's bullshit or whoever the fuck that was. And that's not all. I also bought this. The U.S. Constitution and other writings, because it is being threatened right now by fucking clowns in fascist makeup. So I have it here. It is also quite gilded. This is the Canterbury Collection. Pages are golden, as is the flag here. This, I believe, is the... I'm not sure. We had so many flag designs. Honestly, this is okay. But right now, no one's really a fan of the US for obvious reasons. I'm going to get into that in a little bit. I have this here in case people fucking forget what the hell this thing is even for. So I have that. And if you guys want us to go into the Constitution, I will do that for you. I have the book right here. Okay? As well as other writings. And I saved money. All of these I bought in a single day because I was that bitch. I wanted to do that. Okay? I already showed you the Divine Comedy. Here's another one I also bought. Okay? Another one for tales and stories. Get out of here. All right? Aesop's Fables. Beautifully gilded. The colors. Oh my God, to die for. The back. Look at that. Oh my God. It's like jewelry. Honestly. It's rather precious. It's divine. I love it. All gilded. Okay? You think I was done? No, loves. I have more. All right. I also have this, The Art of War, because we will be entering into one shortly. All right. What the fuck is his name? Sun Tzu? I can't remember, but it is The Art of War and other classics of Eastern philosophy. Okay, look at that. Also gilded. Because these things are practically our sacred rights right now. They matter more than the Bible at this point. They always did. They always did. Let's be honest. All right. So I have those novels. Am I missing one? I don't believe so. That could be all of them. That could be all of them. All right. That's what I have there. There are other books and classes of that nature. And of course, I would love to go into them for you, and show you there's certain things that it's all about. And it's things that I have tried myself to read on my free time, but unless I have somebody there forcing me to read these things, because not only are there distractions, not only is there work, not only is there a fucking borderline impending civil war coming on, the desire to read has sort of left my body because I've been trying to desperately do something else, something that will make my mind a bit busier. Reading tends to calm you down. You sort of get sensitive into the book, but then it just creeps back in. So I've been gaming and everything else like that. Would I show a thing on here? Probably not. All right. So, right. So all of you know, there's a lot of things that has been happening. Okay. Around Christmas break time. Okay. Around Christmas. All right. We bombed Nigeria for I don't know what the fuck for. They'll lie and come up with any excuse, and the dumbass Christians and MAGA will agree to anything nowadays. We invaded a sovereign nation known as Venezuela on the presumptions, with no real evidence or proof, that Maduro was smuggling drugs into the country. Laughable, considering that Trump helped pardon the president, I believe, of Honduras, who was known and caught for smuggling drugs and making billions off of it. So the drug thing is a fucking joke. It's a fucking joke. It's stupid. All right. Not only that, okay, we recently heard him essentially threatening Greenland, I think, or Denmark, saying, well, we're going to have your shit whether you like it or not. Threatening war and violence, of course, making us even more appealing to the rest of the world. Not only that, he sort of made us an enemy of other nations. Other nations are also taking authority as to not allow us into their countries. So yes, it's becoming a disaster. Well deserved, but it's becoming a disaster. Not only that, recently ICE recently killed a woman, and we've seen the videos. We've seen the personal cam here, and the vice pig of the United States decided to give that man full pardon without any sort of investigation into this murder or crime. All right? So, it's getting very heated. And it's not just that, other people have been sort of killed as well. And the thing is that we have this thing in the Constitution, believe it or not, known as the Second Amendment. And no one, despite immense protests before about it being infringed upon, is using it now for the same reason that's happening. So actually, since we are there, let me see if I can find that sort of thing in its complexity. So, the U.S. Constitution and other writings. And then this is the preamble here, okay? We're getting a little bit patriotic here. Let me read the preamble first, okay? We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These words, the rationale for the creation of the United States, as expressed in the Declaration of Independence, did not spring fully formed from the mind of Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson borrowed the words life, liberty, and property from the 17th century English philosopher John Locke, but replaced property with the more general phrase, the pursuit of happiness. So that's where the sort of property, America's about money, about things. But, however, happiness, as anyone who has read the Greek philosopher Aristotle knows, and Jefferson did indeed read his Aristotle, is impossible without property. So the two ideas are really one and the same. Sort of. Seen in the light, the pursuit of happiness, an idea used to defend everything from civil rights to same-sex marriage, can mean to own and enjoy property. Weird way that went, but I'm glad they sort of included that. I will go into that at a later date, all right, to go into depth. But that's not why we are here right now, all right, the Mayflower Compact. I'm looking for a glossary, please. Hold on, I probably skipped it. I did. Look at that. Let me see here. Articles of Confederation and Perpetual Union, Treaty of Paris, the Virginia Plan, Northwest Ordinance, the Constitution of the United States of America. Oscar, that's page 80. And then we have the United States Bill of Rights. I believe that is what we need, the Bill of Rights, because the Constitution is something. So I will check. So I'm going to page 80. And then what was it? 150. All right, so let's do that. Okay. Yes, yes, the Constitution is something we should all be familiar with because it is being threatened right now. Let me see here. Article 1, blah, 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 blah. That's that shit right there. Important to know. Judgment in case of impeachment. Impeachment. Yes! 100%. Impeach the fuck. This is insane. We have things from Alexander Hamilton. Let me see here. I'm looking for the Bill of Rights, which probably is probably going to be in 150 if I think about it properly. Let me see. Amendment. All right. So the Second Amendment here. All right. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Okay. Okay. Security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So that means that we have the right to bear arms and to, with a regulated militia, which would be the people of the state itself, to protect our own state. We have the right to protect our own state, to keep and bear arms. We have the right to do that in the event that this sort of shit happens. If, the right so gets infringed upon. It's like, because it goes right under that. You have to read it with the First Amendment that says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances, which they are ignoring, unfortunately. But yes, right here. Amendment 3, no soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house, without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. That's important to know. All right. Amendment number 4, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons of things to be seized. So this right here, I'm going to bookmark this actually, is what everyone should be reading, should be getting to know right now. Okay? The amendments, oh my God, look at this. Just look at it. Even comes with a red, oh my God, I'm so glad I got this book. But yes, so there's that. Okay, that's definitely happening. Okay, the right will say no. But we all know they're liars. We all know they're liars. Okay, the gaslighters too. So I don't recall, I'm a little bit, hold on, did I do this? You guys saw me adjust the skin. By the way, I acquired from a friend of mine, he gave me his Cernunnos statue. And I have him sitting right here on my windowsill looking outside. All right? And I don't know what just happened. But hey, you know what? We love Cernunnos. I can do a little dive into that. But guys, so this is the thing. We have some issues happening right now in the country. People are talking about civil war. This can, in fact, happen. With the rate that this country is going, the whole thing with the Epstein scandal, which they are trying to avoid, the invasion of other countries, the procurement of certain resources for the reasons as to why we, went to those countries, all for our sakes, it's bullshit. They're going to make all that money and they're going to give us none of it, all right? I could give two shits about Venezuelan oil. We didn't really need it. We have oil everywhere, okay? That was just a thing that they used to go there. It's fucking bullshit. I don't want to hear that shit, all right? We know what the fuck is going on. And I think that they can run the game on us. But honestly, we are the game, and we can decide whether, these things slide or not. More people are waking up to the whole ICE thing. And let me make one thing clear, okay? ICE has been around since, I believe, the early 2000s. They've been around for over 20 years, okay? ICE's function was to serve as a measure of security for the border, because we all know that sort of thing is important. We have gates, gatekeeping. These things are important. And then when he became president, they decided to give them a tremendous amount of funding by cutting everything else that was vital for the sole purpose of kicking undesirables out of the country. They would say these are for illegal immigrants, but we have seen and we have documentation that they have been kicking out legal citizens of the United States. specifically ones that look or are descendants of brown or black or Asian origin. They've kicked out Koreans, okay? They've deported Asians. They're going after the Somalis and the Africans and the blacks. And they've gone after and been after Latinos for the longest time. They haven't really gone after white immigrants, though there are many countries that they come from. They are mostly focusing on the three, okay? The Supreme Court generally gave them full bore to do racial profiling, to attack these sort of people and to take them away. Not only that, ICE was sort of given this sort of parameter. I don't know if it was Christy No, Christy Troll, or whatever the fuck her name is. There was a sort of there was a what do you say when you have a tab you have to do every time? A quota of about 3,000 people a day. That is insane. That is insane. I want to deport all these people and shit like that. And I understand border security, and we do need it, okay? And the thing is, there are steps and there are things to do that ICE, for a time, could have done to make things a bit better. However, because they have no professionals working for the organization, because they are hell-bent and motivated by racial agendas, they are going full force into neighborhoods and countries, making it a, terrible thing, violating our amendment rights by doing what they do, unlawful searches and seizures. We just read that in the fucking amendment. They are doing these things without any warrant. Some people, they don't even ask for the ID and just take them off the streets and ship them off to wherever the fuck they go, separating them and whatever. This happened the first time that orange fuck was in office. This happened the first time he was in office. Okay, 2016 to 2020, people forget. The BLM riots happened under Trump. A whole lot of other issues happened under Trump. The whole immigration issue happened under Trump. The Muslim ban travel into the US happened under Trump. He was also having issues with China. He, ran up our deficit and shit like that. Okay, we went into recession because of that fucker. Okay, everything here is sort of a level 2, level fuck after the first time he was in office, okay, in administration. I can almost guarantee that this time for sure, they had to have done something for the voting to get what they did. There is no way in hell a man that stupid gets a landslide victory, especially in swing states. I'm sorry. That doesn't even make sense, okay? You can say that it was because of them going onto podcasts about immigration and everything else like that. And the same sentiment is being seen in Europe as well because of these crazy right fringe ideologies taking up space in people's minds and shit. The crazy things that are happening in London, the crazy things that are popping up in Germany, tiny bits of this are happening, I think, in other parts of things like France, perhaps even Spain. But Spain, for example, because their dictator died well into his elder years, has had a bad taste in their mouths. So they are less likely to sort of fall into this. But, that sort of sentiment has sort of been rising up. Okay, even in Japan. So this disease is sort of spreading itself and disguising itself as an immigration problem. But we know what the fuck it is, okay? We know what the fuck it is, okay? It doesn't take a genius to see this. But people will readily ignore actual facts, examples, footage of what we have, okay? We have so many papers, the list and everything else. I mean, it's obvious to us who see it, but not obvious to them, But all of this to say is to prepare for the worst, hope for the best, okay? If you do not have a weapon, if you don't believe in that sort of thing, carry knives, learn to use a bow and arrow. Something is very intimidating about an arrow in someone's neck, okay? Be sure, research where your sanctuary cities are, where the cities are strongest. Look out for yourself, okay? Make sure to practice in safety, okay? Make sure to, do your research and things like that. But at the same time, do not be so bogged down in your research and doom scrolling to negatively affect your spirit, okay? You need this moment in time to gain clarity, to gain confidence, okay? To have peace within war in order for you to survive the coming storm, okay? Learn how to use a gun if you have to. Learn how to build barricades, everything else. Just learn it, okay? Pay attention to the banking systems, to your accounts, anything else like that, okay? Just keep an open mind, okay? But don't let it drive you crazy. Just be prepared is what I'm urging all of you, okay? And with the last bit of news, I have officially put in my resignation at the portals. My last day will be the 31st of this month working at that company. I've worked there for a long time, learned a lot, seen a lot, got to know people there, made some friends there. But honestly, it's a time for it to change. And in the coming month, I will no longer be residing in this state, but in another one. So the trip is going to be quite far. And whenever that video pops up, you'll be sure to see it, and I will probably have a nice different background and everything else happening. But I am happy and grateful to be going there because I have a good friend group there, a strong community of witches and practitioners, and there was so much life and warmth that I felt there, and it felt home to me. And so that's why I feel, most welcome. This place has been home long enough. I will be moving out of here soon, and my family is here, but I have family everywhere. So there's that to consider. But, I do this in love and in earnest, all right? Be sure to practice your spells in safety, as well as, sex or anything else that you do. Make sure you keep up on your news, but also keep up with your good stories. Watch some funny TikTok, watch some videos. Try to desaturate your feeds with political shit. Fill it with garbage, things that make you laugh, things that make you cry. Things like cooking videos. I've been seeing so many of those. Watch some animes, just do things that will occupy your time, but never stay uninformed, okay? All right, everyone. I encourage all of you to remember to be kind, to rewind, to reassess, and practice in excess vigilance. I am your host, your Lord, your Savior, Leonark, with my host here, Grimmy. And until next time, rats, goodbye.